I want to ask you the ultimate question. Would you be willing to do this for $100,000 a year? See, my name is Nathan Sevedge. I'm the CEO of Devslopes, and we're a vocational coding school. And we have taught thousands of people all over the world how to code. And this is what I've gotten interested in. How do people become six-figure earners? And even more importantly, when people are first learning how to code or how to become marketers, or they're learning anything new, what is the difference between the amateur and the professional? And how do you make that jump? How do I go from being a teacher to becoming a senior software engineer? Or how do I go from being a teacher to whatever that thing is? And that's how we start learning about the most important thing, the mastery mindset. We're gonna go through a final summary of the book, Mastery by Robert Greene. And the main message of this book is to achieve mastery, you need to find your own unique inner calling. Study and learn a great deal under a mentor during an apprenticeship. And finally, develop an independent and creative way of thinking. Studying the lives of great masters can give us valuable insights into these tasks. So, who can achieve mastery? If you are an Uber driver, a teacher, or whatever it is, who can achieve it? We talk here about it. You don't need inborn talent to become a master. Just follow the steps of masters before you. And that's what really sets the precedence. In my life, what I did is, I didn't have a lot of people I looked up to. That's not because there wasn't a lot of great people around me. It's because I grew up in West Texas and most of the people didn't have the life I wanted. Most of the people were living a completely different lifestyle than me. So I didn't really have people to emulate to. So I looked online. I looked at the Gary Vaynerchuks, the Tim Ferrisses. I remember one of the first things I looked at a long time ago was Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. And that's when I got the idea of being able to work remotely. And now I have a company of 40 plus people that do that. It's really interesting how this plays out. So that's where my journey to mastery started, finding the models. Who's doing this? What are they doing? How can I follow behind? Each of us has an inner calling which guides us towards our vocation in life, a discipline or field that we wish to master. And it's really important that we understand that. A vocation in life. That's what the mastery mindset is about. Now, what constitutes a good apprenticeship? Because if you want to become a master, you need to find an apprenticeship where you can study under a mentor. Your main goal in a new field should not be immediate success or money, but to learn as much as possible. This is why in Devslopes, we've specifically said it's a 16-month-long process to go from relatively new person in computer science to becoming an entry-level developer. I see one big problem, and I know that a lot of people watching this right now are going to be individuals interested in coding. Before you can move on and start your journey, there's 3 rules that are crucial. Rule number 1 is the 250-hour rule. The 250-hour rule is the rule in which you could finally start getting freelance work. The next rule is the 750-hour rule. This is your entry-level rule. This is the rule in a career where you can go out and typically get a job paying in the $65,000 to $90,000 range, right? That's when you put in about 8 months of studying, a pretty good amount of time. Sometimes this could span to about 8 to 12 months. That's when you're really ready to go out and get a full-time job. You have a good amount of experience. You really know what you're doing and you're entry level ready. This is not when you're ready to get a job. When you have gone through 750 hours with a mentor, that's when you are good to go. That's when you will finally have a little bit of critical thinking skills. And this is when mastery really comes in mind. Mastery is the practice of a skill until it's automatic, so that your mind and body act as one, freeing you to focus on the bigger picture. We see this in software engineering when someone can take a step back from the small little minute stuff and be able to focus on how can I optimize this code? How can I make this code more scalable? In marketing, it's saying, hey, this one ad says this. How can I tie it into the bigger picture of what we're trying to sell, right? How can I tie it into the theme of the brand, the messaging we have? It's so crucial, and it takes a while to learn that. The mastery mindset is amazing, but it's just one step of the puzzle. And now it is time for us to dive into how you make this transition. For you to make that transition, you have to adapt the mastery mindset, but that's not enough. What you need next is something that has been studied incredibly well. And so I asked ChatGPT, what role does grit play in an individual's ability to achieve success in their professional career? Please provide trends, research, etc. Grit defines as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. plays a significant role in an individual's ability to achieve success in their professional career. See, research has been conducted over the years has shown that grit can be a better indicator of success than traditional measures like intelligence and talent. This is crucial, like the importance of deliberate practice, the importance of a growth mindset, which we're going to cover. And grit in the workplace is really what we're looking for. And I myself, as someone who is hired at this point, 50 to 75 plus people, I know for a fact grit is one of the things I'm looking for. For a large sum of people, I am the individual providing them with the career journey, the path to that better life. Because quite frankly, the path that I followed worked exceptionally well, right? I went out, I found my vocation, I dedicated time to it while I worked at a call center and had a personal training job on the side. And then I dedicated time to it on the side between my Uber riding. And then I got freelance work, which led to a job, which led to this and that. And now my life has changed. I'm an 8-figure entrepreneur. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to happen to you, but it does change quite often. Personality, process, and individual differences. This is actual research. This is a scientific study from Angela L. Duckworth from the University of Pennsylvania. The importance of intellectual talent to achieve in a professional domains is well established, but what is less known about other individual differences that predict success. The author tested the importance of one non-cognitive trait. A non-cognitive trait is essentially a trait that doesn't determine how smart you are. It's essentially your personal willpower. How willing are you to go through something to achieve that success? In this scenario, they tested the importance of one non-cognitive trait, grit, and they defined this as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. Grit accounted for an average of 4% of the variance in successful outcomes, including educational attainment. Now, I recommend all of you come look at this later on. There's a lot of amazing stuff in here. You see this goes on for a long period of time. Your ability to delay gratification has a direct impact on your ability to have success. But that's not the final thing. There's one more. You need to have the ability to delay gratification. You need to have a mastery mindset. Now, we need one more thing. If you have a mastery mindset and you have the ability to delay gratification, right? You need one more thing. Carol Dweck is an amazing scientist that studies human motivations. And she wrote a book called Growth Mindset. Forgot the name of it off the top of my head. By the way, great blog, fs.blog, amazing blog. Now, there are two main mindsets that we can navigate life with, the growth and the fixed mindset. Having a growth mindset is essential for success. Carol Dweck, she studies human motivation. She spends her days diving into people's success or non-success and within our control to foster their success. She talks about how there's two different mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Now, the fixed mindset thinks intelligence is static, and you may not be able to read this well, but hey, I'm born how I'm born. The growth mindset is that intelligence can be developed. Now, one thing I can tell you, for someone who grew up in West Texas, who graduated 11 out of his 13, I can assure you, nobody in my life thought that I would be the person to have a library in his office. I've spent thousands of dollars on books. In fact, I went to Barnes & Noble's the other day. I made an Instagram post about this where we nearly spent about $3,000 on books. And it just shows you how valuable I think they are. I spoke to a really close friend the other day. And he told me, Nathan, I'm going to be honest. Of everybody I knew, I never would have thought that you would have been the one to make that transition. But it's clear why you were able to make that transition. You were the individual that put all of his time and resources and money into buying books. It makes sense, right? And so this really ties into the importance of that growth mindset, right? And this idea that intelligence can be developed, it leads to a desire to learn and therefore a tendency to embrace challenge and persist in the face of setbacks and see effort as a path to mastery and to learn from criticism and to find lessons and inspiration in the success of others. And as a result, they reach an even higher level of achievement. And this gives them a greater sense of free will. Now let's look at what a fixed mindset is. Intelligence is static, and that leads to a desire to look smart, and therefore they have a tendency to avoid challenges. And that leads to them giving up easily when they face obstacles. And they see effort as fruitless or worse. A great idea of this, and I feel like this has to be established. How many people do we know that they see obstacles, and when they see other people trying hard, they're like, what a try hard. You think you're better than us? right? You think you want to go try hard and learn how to do XYZ because you're better than us, right? We get put in these environments and people treat us that way. They don't like seeing you try hard. Why? Because they have a fixed mindset. And when they have this fixed mindset, it's really painful because typically it falls off on other people. And that's what Devslopes is about. We understand that providing education is not enough, realistically. To make a transition from most people from who they are today to becoming an entry-level developer, and we're going to soon be releasing more programs in other industries, to make that transition, it requires the educator to provide more resources, right? This is why we hire clinical empowerment specialists. These are people getting their PhDs and doctorates in psychology. And they're there to essentially be the sports coach you need, that sports coach who will help you understand yourself better. How do you make over these jumps? And that's what's so crucial when we look at these fixed mindsets. And they see effort as fruitless or worse. They ignore useful negative feedback and they feel threatened by the success of others. And as a result, this is going to lead to plateauing early and they achieve less than their potential. All this confirms their deterministic views of the world. Your view of yourself can determine everything. If you believe that your qualities are unchangeable, the fixed mindset, you will prove yourself correct you will prove yourself correct over and over rather than learning from your mistakes. Changing our beliefs can have a powerful impact. The growth mindset creates a powerful passion for learning. Why waste time proving over and over how great you are, Dweck writes, when you can be getting better and better? And I love this quote right here. The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive during some of the most challenging times in their lives. Now let's put it in practice, right? And then going from setback to success, and this goes on and on. I want you guys to go through this. Now, before I get into some practical ways to gain some skills, it would be fruitless unless I gave you the truth of the matter. Unless you adopt these three things, the mastery mindset, the importance of grit, and having a growth mindset, you won't be able to get anywhere. But if you adapt those three things, what you're gonna find is that you will become a completely different person. You will overcome obstacles. You will face those massive fears that you have faced your entire life, and you're gonna be able to jump over them, right? I understand it. I know for a fact. I remember when I was starting my journey, and every single day, the first thing I thought was, am I smart enough for this? Why is it everybody else is getting it? Why am I not getting it? I feel so stupid. It felt fruitless. In fact, go and look back at a lot of my early social posts. I got rid of a lot of them because I was embarrassed, right? I felt fat. I didn't like being on camera. It was embarrassing across the board. It was not a fun experience, but I was able to adopt these three mindsets and it transformed my life. And through all of the students within Devslopes that I've directly taught, these are the things that helped them make that transition. Understanding that life is not easy. And those that choose to take the path of sacrifice and challenge and adopt the mastery mindset are the ones who are willing to grow. And they treat their career like a vocation. And they're not the people that want to work the 4-hour work weeks and get out, right? They want to put in the 40 to 50 hours. They want to develop respect for themselves. They want to build a career. And that's what we're here for. One of my favorite authors is a guy named Josh Kaufman. The reason why I like him is because he wrote a book. It's ironic that they said ratings 3 out of 10. He wrote a really amazing book called The Personal MBA. Or Professional MBA, something along those lines. Now it said summary notes. Rapid skill acquisition has 4 steps. Number 1, deconstructing a skill into smallest possible sub-skills. Number 2, learning. Learning enough about each sub-skill to be able to practice intelligently and self-correct during practice. Because again, one of the things we saw about in grit is the importance of deliberate practice. You're mindful about when you're practicing. And removing physical, mental, and emotional barriers that get in the way of practice. We see that with the growth mindset. And finally, practicing. When my CTO, Peter, came into Devslopes, one of the first things he said, I'm gonna make this shit so hard. I'm gonna make this so hard on everybody, it's gonna frustrate them. Why? Because he knew that people needed more time practicing. See, typically when you go into a boot camp or these different scenarios, specifically school, you study something once, you test on it, you move on. You don't typically go back to it. And what we do is we force people to go back, right? Just like in therapy, you're forced to deal with the stuff that you never wanted to deal with. And that is the only path that you can truly take to be able to become a master. You're forced to have to go back and practice. There's 10 principles of rapid skill acquisition. Number 1, choose a lovable project, something that you have passion for. Number 2, focus your energy on one skill at a time. Define your target performance level. Deconstruct the skill into sub-skills and obtain critical tools. Eliminate barriers to practice. Make dedicated time for practice. Create fast feedback loops. This is where the mentors really come into play. Practice by clock in short bursts and emphasize quality and control. Would you do this for $100,000 a year? And what that really speaks to is the length it takes to build that career, right? Everybody wants the six-figure job, and the truth of the matter, it's incredibly difficult to get. I just gave you the entire framework for how you achieve it. It's simple, but it's hard. The hard part is you're gonna have all of these external barriers leaning in on you, falling on you. What I can tell you for myself, I've been a CEO now for about 2 years, and this has been the hardest 2 years of my life. I have faced the hardest decisions that I've ever had to make, whether it was hiring the wrong people or firing people I thought were amazing, but they weren't cultural fits or they violated something that was crucial to the company. So the process of you becoming who you're supposed to be and the journey that you're on, you have to expect one thing that Robert Greene said, and it's that you cannot expect performance or money or success in the beginning. You have to expect it. This journey is going to take a minimum of 16 months to see real progress and truthfully get your first job. I leave you with the fact where Devslopes is a community of people who aren't looking for the easy way out. We understand that this is a long process, and if you're looking for resources to support you in that journey, that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you the truth, the reality of what it's like to be a real software engineer or a marketer or whatever it is, looking for your journey in the world. I couldn't be happier to be that mentor for you. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. I look forward to seeing you guys later.